Let's devote this segment here, Rod, to the Cowboys and the Cowboys division, the NFC East. Last year, the Philadelphia Eagles broke out and went 14-3 and won the division. Took it away from the Cowboys, 14-3. They outscored their opponents by 133 points last year, Rod. They scored 477. They were dynamic, and the Cowboys went 12-5, though, and also had a great offense last year. They're right there. Giants went 9-7-1. Commanders were 8-8-1. What do we make of the NFC East this year? Is it still the Eagles soaring, or is this the Cowboys' year?
Yeah, I wonder. The last repeat NFC East champion was 03-04 Eagles. So it hadn't happened in a long time where a team's been able to repeat as division winners in the NFC East. I'll say this about the Eagles, just throwing it out there. They're the sixth team to make a Super Bowl and lose both coordinators. Lost Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen. That's good because shows you had a lot of success. Teams want to poach your coaches. But if you look at it, they're the sixth team to lose both of their coordinators and the ensuing offseason, and none of those teams returned to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
None of those teams got back. They're the third.
You mean the motivator, Jonathan Gannon in Arizona?
Right?
His speeches are awesome.
How'd you guys get here? You took the bus?
I want killers.
Took the bus. What's going on here? Yeah, he's definitely Robert Sala's pretty motivational. He did a good job.
He's not Deion.
He's not Deion. There you go. He said they're the third team to lose both coordinators to head coaching jobs, and no NFC team. How about this? That has lost a Super Bowl has returned the following season since the 1974 Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to do. But here's the thing. If you go look at the numbers, Rod, the Eagles and the Cowboys were so close last year. I mentioned that the Eagles, scored 477 points. The Cowboys scored 467 points, right? And they scored their defenses allowed 2 points different last year. You know what was different about the Eagles and Cowboys last year? Was the Eagles on the road. The Eagles went 7-1 on the road last year. They were 7-2 at home, 7-1 on the road. Cowboys were 4-4 on the road last season. There was a loss at Green Bay that they shouldn't have lost. Where Dak Prescott threw 2 picks. They were the better team in that game. Green Bay was not good last year, and the Cowboys lost that game. There were a couple of those road games, and to me, that's going to be the decider for the Cowboys. Can they go on the road and win games this year, starting with the New York Giants on Sunday?
Which is weird because typically Dallas is better on the road than they are at home.
Yeah, they went 8-1 at home last year, and they defended home turf. And I'm going to lean Eagles. I'm going to lean Eagles, and I'm worried about the Cowboys on Sunday against the Giants. Brian Daboll with the whole offseason to get ready for this game on his field with a healthy team. Can the Cowboys win that game? They got to win on the road. They got to be better away from Cowboys Stadium.
The Giants haven't beaten the Cowboys in like 7 years.
I get it. But both games were close last year.
Dak is 27-7 versus the NFC East in his career. I mean, Dak's really good versus the NFC East. Now he's got to stay healthy. Knock on wood. But I don't say he owns the division, but he's got a really high success rate in the division. But to your point about Brian Daboll and the Giants, I'll give you a stat about the Giants, and it shows you how good of a coach Brian Daboll is. They had a top 10 offensive line in the NFL last season, even though they led the NFL in O-line combinations. They had 20 different offensive line combinations that played at least 5 snaps, and no combo played more than 40% of the snaps. Do you know how tough it is to have different offensive linemen without having the continuity and chemistry together all throughout the season? Usually those guys have like a hive mind. You want all of them thinking the same things, looking at basically seeing the same things, everybody on the same page. And he had more offensive line turnover and had more inconsistency on the O-line and combinations than any other team, and yet they still are a playoff team. That did not affect Daniel Jones' development or Saquon Barkley running for over 1,000 yards.
Well, a playoff team and won the playoff game in Minnesota before losing by getting crushed by the Eagles in the second playoff game. But yes, I mean this division is really good. And if Sam Howell is what people think he's had a really good camp in Washington for Ron Rivera. Now Eric Bieniemy calling the plays with Washington. They've got Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin. They think they're going to be better on offense with Eric Bieniemy in charge. Their defense, they've got a top 5 defensive line in this league, Rod. They're going to be a problem for everybody in that division up front in Washington. So the division's really good. The division's really tough.
A good division. Yeah.
And a lot of people think the Eagles may have even improved this offseason with their acquisitions. We'll see.
They definitely did in the draft.
Took all the Georgia players.
Took the Georgia defensive front. They were like, we like those guys. They play well together. Let's get them all. But yeah, I mean, I think the Giants could regress a little. I'll give you a number about the Giants that concerns me.
Sure.
And it kind of shows you that Brian Dable, he just finds a way to win games.
He's a problem solver, as you call it.
Yeah.
He's a problem solver.
They win ugly, but they got a lot of different ways they can win. Offensively, they had the lowest turnover rate in the NFL, so that helps too. They don't beat themselves. But they had only 43 plays of 20-plus yards. That was last in the NFL. As a matter of fact, their 28 completions of 20-plus yards was the lowest in the NFL and the fewest in the last 10 years in the NFL. Crazy. That's Daniel Jones. He's got to take a step if they're going to compete in that division. I don't think he will.
I tend to think there's a regression. I do worry a little bit for the Cowboys on Sunday night, at night in New Jersey. Again, all the time to prepare for this game. But what we don't know with the Cowboys is what's this offense going to look like? What is the Texas Coast offense? What is Dak Prescott? Tex Coast that they've come up with, or whatever they call it now. Tony Pollard, is he ready to be a star? Is he ready to be the lead back and carry this running game? Mike McCarthy now calling the plays. We know, I think we can sit here on a Thursday and say the defense is going to be elite, right? The defense and Micah Parsons, they're going to be really, really good. But where is the offense? Where is... how big is Brandon Cooks as an addition? How healthy is the offensive line, right? You've got Tyler Smith dealing with a hamstring. You just signed Terrence Steele to the big deal. Zach Martin got his holdout taken care of. He's got a new contract. Really looking forward to seeing the Cowboys and what that looks like with Mike McCarthy now empowered to call the plays. No Kellen Moore, but more power to Dak Prescott. What does that look like on Sunday night?
Looks like you walking to Dallas.
Cowboys are 0-3 to start the season, though, in the last 3 season openers. I don't know what that is. That's weird. I'll read you a couple of Dak stats that worry me. These are career record, like win-loss record numbers in certain situations. Dak, when he attempts 30-plus passes, 32 and 31. That's why they want to run the ball more. Dak throws at least one interception. He is 13 and 14.
Ooh.
Dak throws more than one interception. They're 6 and 12. Dak versus teams with winning records, 19 and 17. Versus teams with 500 record, he is 12 and 9. By the way, 30 and 9 versus teams who are under 500 or with a losing record. And Dak, when sacked more than once, 27 and 25. Gotta get the O-line right. And Dak in January is 1 and 3.
1 and 3.
Those are the numbers that worry me about Dak. Versus the AFC, whenever he gets a chance to play the AFC, and it doesn't happen very often. Want it to happen more, especially in the postseason. You want it to happen. Dak versus the AFC, 13 and 13.
Ooh.
Not great versus the AFC either. So that you can see why they want to change from being a Dak-centric offense to being an offense that now has is multifaceted and can beat you in a lot of different ways.
Well, and that's the question, right? A couple of years ago, they had Amari Cooper and Zeke at their in their peak, and this offense had weapons and Cooper and a young CeeDee Lamb. Now the question is CeeDee Lamb with Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup. How dynamic is that? Mm-hmm. No more Dalton Schultz. Now it's Jake Ferguson. What about Tony Pollard? There are a lot of questions. No question on defense. They're going to be a
top 5,
top 3 unit in the league. Micah Parsons is very happy today after seeing what Nick Bosa signed for with the 49ers. He did a little cartwheel when he saw that. But all right, let's put it on the line. Who are we taking to win the AFC East? I'll go first. I'm taking Philadelphia. I'm taking the Eagles, and here's why. The one thing I know about Jalen Hurts, Rod, from his time at Channelview High School to Alabama and now into the pros, he has got a Tom Brady-like focus on the game. He's got a will to be better. He's got a passion to be better day by day and a competitive streak that I think people are talking about him regressing. I don't buy it. I think Jalen Hurts gets better this year. I think he's one of those guys that is obsessed about the game of football and his participation in it, kind of like Micah Parsons is on the defense for the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. I think Jalen Hurts and the Eagles win the division again.
Yeah, and I actually love their offensive coordinator hire or promotion. He was already in within the organization, Brian Johnson. He was promoted from quarterbacks coach to OC. That's going to be a good move for them. I actually was hoping that the Cowboys would hire him as their OC when Kellen Moore and the Cowboys parted ways with one another. I thought he'd be a good hire for the Cowboys because he could work with Dak. He has a history, actually, with Dak because I believe going back to Mississippi State. at that time. So anyway, I think they're not going to miss the offensive coordinator so much. I do wonder about the defense, but Jonathan Gannon, honestly, his Super Bowl game plan was upsetting. So maybe they'll find an upgrade there on defense too. I'll go with the Eagles, even though you haven't had a consecutive division winner since 2003-04. It was the Eagles, actually.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the Eagles to be the team to do it, since they were the last team to do it in that division.
And I will say, I do think the Cowboys are a playoff team. I just don't think they're going to win the division. It'll be very similar to last year. They could win double digits, 10, 11, 12 games, but I think the Eagles are the class of the division and maybe the class of the conference. Ty, who you got? Is there any doubt? Do we know where we're going here?
Yeah, we're going with the Cowboys.
Remember, people, he also picked the Jets in Cleveland to win their division. So
hey, listen,
I took some
he
chalk.
takes the underdogs. I like the underdog.
I agree
Dallas
with
can
y'all.
win this division. I just think I'm a big. I know he's a Sooner, but I'm a big believer in Jalen Hurts. I think his and the weapons that they have around him have improved. I believe with the acquisition of DeAndre Swift at running back to go with the backs they already
They got
had,
the best lines of scrimmage in the league.
and the best lines of scrimmage.
Best lines of scrimmage in the league. That's all you need. Best lines of scrimmage in the league, and a quarterback that was in the MVP discussion last year.
Before he got hurt.
And they bring back all those pass rushers except for one, right?
Yeah.
They had all those pass rushers. They
A
had,
defensive tackle that went to the 49ers.
yeah, there you go.
Javon Hargrave.
Yeah, that's it.
As a free agent.
And they, by the way, they've drafted back-to-back D tackles right in the draft.
Jalen Carter might have been the best talent in the draft. They got him ninth.
So they're good.
And
They're
they
good. They
drafted-
got with Jordan Davis too before that, right?
Yeah.
So they're good. They're good.
No, look, I think the Cowboys and the Eagles are among the three best teams in the conference. Unfortunately, they're in the same division, and I'm going to take the Eagles. Tell the Cowboys show me that Dak Prescott can, as you say, win on the road, win against good teams head-to-head. I'm going to take the Eagles because I think Jalen Hurts can.